All right, we're live, both on TikTok and on YouTube. Let's see if everything works. I think so. Yeah, we're live. All right. So first, let me introduce myself. My name is Ivo Wander. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm a founder, and I set up my business in the Netherlands. Was successful in doing so, and after about 5 years, I decided to move on and sold my business. So I was lucky enough to be able to move on. I've learned a lot, and now I'm ready for a new chapter. I started this live because I wanted to share my knowledge, and also to tell about any new projects that I'm working on. I'm currently building a DAO. So this live is for anyone who has any questions about building a business, growing a business, or also about a DAO. Open to answer any questions you may have. I see that Anna has joined the stream. Hi, Anna. All right, let's just start off with some questions that have already been sent in. Let me see. What was the hardest decision I ever had to make as a founder? I think one of the hardest things I ever had to do is firing people. It's never fun to fire someone because you know that it's their job, it's their life at that moment, and it's never nice to disappoint someone. So as a founder, I think that's one of the hardest things to do. Luckily, I've never had to endure any financial stress or a lot of financial stress, so very lucky about that, even though that did cause some stress every now and then. So I think those two you will hear as answers from founders the most. But for me personally, I think firing someone is one of the hardest things to do. Just disappointing someone is not a lot. But what it taught me is that you have the personal side of firing someone, and it is personal, but it is also still a business. So as a founder, you sometimes also have to make tough decisions in order for the business to survive. So sometimes you just have to do it, and that's something that it taught me. All right, let's see. Any other questions? So one of the questions is, let me see. One of the questions is, how did we get our first real client at our agency, and why would it be different now? That is actually quite funny. The way that we got our first client was, it was our initial network, but it was also a healthy amount of bluffing. So we started as a marketing agency, and not really marketing agency, but it was an anything agency. So we just wanted to build a business really, really badly. So we started an agency, and we were like, okay, whatever a client wants us to do, whether it's building a website, doing social media, doing marketing, anything, we would just say yes and then start doing it. So I remember one of the first meetings that we had. My co-founder and I were sitting next to each other, and we had a business meeting, potentially a new client, and they were asking us a bunch of things like, hey, can you do this? And then we were just pointing each other, he can do that. And then we would spend the entire weekend learning that skill. And I think that was needed at that moment because, we were just beginning. We didn't have a great name. We were mostly building upon the initial network that we had, and dedication, as long as we make sure to deliver, and that's what we did. So that was our first real client at Dapper, and they stayed really long. So we were very happy with that client, and they were happy with us, and we also managed to to go through different layers of the business and help different business units as well. So we did a good job. Let's see, any other questions? All right. Another question is, what systems or habits helped me scale from a small team to 30 plus people? So in the end, we were with more than 40 people. So that's quite tough to manage. And in the beginning, we were starting out with just 2 people. It says to swipe for my comments. Well, if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat. Let me see. Oh yeah, system or habits. So yeah, there's a very big difference from building a company starting with 2 people until 40 plus people. 40 plus people, it's a real business, and with 2 people or 3 or 4 people, looking back at it, it just felt like we were a bunch of guys just trying and failing and just trying a bunch of stuff. And then in between, the steps that we were able to take was a combination of being careful, first of all, but not being too careful. Also, trying or daring to take that step. I always make the analogy of rock climbing. If you've ever been rock climbing, you've always had that moment where you're like, okay, I think I can reach it, but then I would have to make that leap in order to get it, and then you let go of that foot. And I feel like many times that's what helped us to go to that next level, and especially in the beginning, that was quite tough because we're making quite a leap. Also financially, we're taking some risks, and so that was a habit that we had to learn ourselves. And in terms of systems, I think what really helped was that we kept everything quite easy. So we had a very clear documenting system in Notion, and that's where we documented all our meetings with clients. That's where we documented all our systems. So as soon as we found out that something worked, we documented it and made it into a process, and that helped us to crystallize what was the best way to help our clients. For me, that was one of the systems that really helped. All right, let's see if there's any other questions here. Any other questions in the chat about building a business or how it works running a DAO? I see one question. Did you have imposter syndrome? How did you manage to trust and also take the first step? Yes, in the beginning, definitely had some imposter syndrome, because starting a business, and I think many people have that. Starting a business feels quite big and quite tough, and we look up to business founders quite a lot. I notice. Also, not only if I talk about myself, but also about other people. And it's actually not that difficult to start a business, but I only found out when I did it. So yes, I definitely had imposter syndrome in the beginning, where I was doubting, okay, can I do this? But how did I manage to trust and also take the first step? I think what really helps is just to try it and see yourself succeed. Because that's what helps me to build some trust, and in order to take the step after that and after that and after that. And also to keep in mind that everyone is insecure, so it makes sense that you're also insecure, and that's fine. All of the entrepreneurs that have been successful before, they have been insecure 100%, and they've managed. So I think that's something good to keep in mind, that everyone starts from the same starting point. All right, let's see any other questions. Okay, I see another question. what's something I believed about leadership early on that turned out to be wrong? Well, what I see a lot is that people think from leadership in business that they have to be perfect. So in my position, and that's also what I thought in the beginning, so towards my employees, I always have to know everything, and I have to be the best at marketing in this case. And that's definitely not true. Also, it's not as if the business only revolves around the boss. So that's something I had to unlearn. And what I learned from that is that what is more important for leadership is to set a vision, to set some examples, but more in terms of values, and to show leadership in the sense of, I really like the phrase, leaders eat last. So they make sure that everyone who's working in the business can always depend on you. And that's always what I followed. So that people always felt protected, so that whenever they made a mistake, I was not going to be the one that's going to be unreasonable with them. So they felt free to make those mistakes and to do whatever they felt that makes sense to them. And I gave them some freedom to be creative as well. All right, next question. Let's see here. Another question was, how did I know it was time to sell my company, and how did the process actually feel? Yeah, so that took me quite some time to realize that it was time for me to sell my company. And that was quite a difficult process, because as you can imagine, by the time, let's say 5 years in, by that time we were with 40 people. I've created a bond with everyone. Everything was going well. So yeah, everything seemed very positive. But at a certain moment, I felt that a very clear signal that it was time for me to move on, and that had mostly to do with the level of responsibility. On the one hand, that I felt very strongly towards everyone who was working at the company, and also towards all the clients that we had. I felt that quite personal, and that always happens as a leader, always happens as a founder of the company, that you're in the spotlight. There's definitely responsibility for you, so there is pressure, and at the same time, it was not the same. The company was not the same anymore as when we started. In the beginning, like I said, we were with 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, and we were building something from nothing. It really felt like creating something new. And later on, we found out what worked, and it was mostly turning the button, turning the switches, and we were scaling the company. And I didn't feel as content with that situation. So I decided that it was not worth to me anymore, also because the company was growing quite quickly, and I wasn't able to really adapt with the pressure that had its toll on me. And I was like, dude, I'm 33 years old. I've had the possibility to build a business, and now I have the possibility to start a new chapter. So I was like, okay, let's do that and get back to building. And after I made that decision, I never had any regrets, and and my mind started to open up again to build new things. And now I'm actually working on something that really excites me again. So I'm currently building a DAO, which is basically an autonomous organization built on the blockchain, and that's something I find very interesting. Something I look forward to working on in the morning, and that has been quite a while since I've had that feeling. I had forgotten about it, so I feel zero regret about making that decision, even though I still have a very positive relationship with everyone working at the company. So yeah, I'm also happy about that. All right, let's see any other questions in the chat. Feel free to drop any questions if you have any. Let's see. All right, what do we have here? If I had to start a company all over again today, in 2025, how would I build it differently? That's a good question. How would I build it differently? So I think first of all, I would be less scared about building a business. So that would be a starting point that would make me feel more at ease. So I would feel more free to just try things. And what would I do different? I think what I would do different is to take risks quicker. Yeah, I've always been a bit more hesitant to taking risks, and now looking back, a lot of those moments where I felt that it was justified to take that risk, looking back, the risk was actually not that big, or the impact, or the potential negative impact was not that big. So I would do that differently. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Any other questions in the chat? One question is, how did I redefine... I see another question in the chat. What do you recommend to read to learn more about DAOs or Bitcoin? Well, DAOs and Bitcoin are quite different, but if you were to learn more about... let's first tackle Bitcoin. I think it's an interesting topic. I think Bitcoin is still one of the best designs of technology we've ever seen. But if you want to learn more about it, very simple, read the Bitcoin white paper. It's the white paper that has been written by Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin, and he explains, or she, we don't know, explains about how the Bitcoin is set up, but also why it was created. I can't remember how many pages, but it's not big. So also there, the design is really spot on, because there are not too many words written to explain the concept, which I find amazing. So yeah, for Bitcoin, go read the Bitcoin white paper, and then a DAO maybe first. First I'll explain where you can read more about DAO. There's actually not a lot of information about DAOs on the internet, relatively, because so we've seen a lot from blockchain in the sense of crypto, so Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. We've seen a lot about NFTs. Unfortunately, not the best examples. A lot of examples have been around the maybe you remember the monkey images and stuff. So I don't think those are the best examples. Anyway, and then a third concept in blockchain that already exists for quite a while, but really didn't really get a lot of attention in like the mainstream crowd is DAOs. So there's not a lot of information available, but I think the best thing to do is to check out some YouTube videos. I also have some videos about on both my YouTube page and on TikTok about what a DAO is, and but to simply explain the concept and also what I'm working on, what I like about a DAO. So it's an autonomous team on the blockchain, and how it's different from a regular autonomous team is that all of the ownership is registered on the blockchain. Everything is transparent. Everything is decentralized. So because ownership is decentralized, there's not a single manager that can decide like, okay, we're going towards this direction, or we're going towards this direction. That's something I really enjoy. and it's on hyperspeed. So voting can go super fast because everyone's an owner and can vote online. And everything is registered online, so no one can mess with the votes. Getting finance is really interesting for a DAO. So they can. So normally, when a company wants to get financed, they go for a financing round, and that takes weeks, months, sometimes more than months, maybe years. And the result is that it goes very slow and it stops the growth of a company. What I see with a DAO is they can mint coins today, and those coins can be made available to sell, and with those coins the company can grow again, and then they don't depend on heavy financiers like a VC or business angels. Everyone and their mother can become an investor if they buy one coin, which is, let's say it's $10. They can buy 10 coins, but they can also buy one coin. So it's really more approachable. And then, for example, a coffee shop then, together with everyone in the neighborhood, can create a new franchise. So they have one location and they want to grow. They don't have to go to the bank. They don't have to go to a business angel. They can just collaborate with everyone in the neighborhood and be like, okay, together let's form a DAO. And with that DAO, we're going to build another coffee shop. And then everyone in the neighborhood can be like, okay, yeah, sure. I want to invest. Let's say it's 50 euros, and a few thousand people in the neighborhood really love that coffee shop, and they're like, okay, let's invest. I'll buy some coins. And with those coins, the owner of the coffee shop can create a new business and or start a new location. And in return, they can talk about, okay, what kind of beans can be roasted, what kind of how should the coffee shop look, what kind of events are we going to organize, and then in return, like in terms of financing, paying back, it can either be like a regular model, paying back with interest, but it can also be as a discount for any coffees people are going to buy in the future. So I think so many new opportunities are available with DAOs, and a lot of them we have no clue about what are the possibilities, and that's something that I find extremely interesting. I think another really interesting thing about blockchain or a new opportunity, maybe it's nice to take a look at it. If you Google the Talent Protocol, the Talent Protocol is a website where you can basically invest in talent in a certain blockchain area. So developers, and if that developer is still very small or they don't have a lot of money, with that, so they mint coins and people buy those coins, and with that investment they can buy whatever they need in order to live. But also if they need, let's say, a new computer or whatever, they need to travel in order to grow as a developer, they can use that money. And I find that very interesting. It's still very much in the tech area, but also try to expand the horizon there. Let's say we do the same and we apply it to football talents. And then a young talent in Brazil, let's call him João. João mints some coins to kick off their football career, because a lot of young footballers, they don't have enough financing in order to grow as a player, and they are really dependent on some people with a lot of power, and people with, well, centralized people with a lot of power is usually not a great idea. And I think we can globalize talent development in this way. So what it could be is just João on their social media. They can say, okay, I minted some coins. If you want to develop in my, or if you want to invest in my development, this is where you can do that. And then with those, with the revenue or the money that's coming in, they can buy football shoes, or they go on football camps, or they can travel to their football training or football, buy football, anything. They can buy anything that's supporting their development. So there are a lot of things that are possible with these new concepts. It's just we need the creativity and we need to start doing stuff in order to find out what it is that we can do. So that's why I decided to start off with just creating a DAO myself. I'm building a DAO for just a community, so really simple, a community for founders, because I've been a founder, I am a founder, and I know the struggle of finding a good community, and I wanted to create that into a DAO and just start off very simple and then build step by step and experience step by step what it is, or what a DAO means and how it operates. A very long answer for your question, but I hope that answered your question. All right, let's see, we have time for one more question. Anyone else a question about building a business? Let's see. All right, I see another question here. One question about DAOs. If DAOs succeed, how could they change how we think about business, ownership, and trust? Well, first of all, I don't think that DAOs will completely replace centralized companies. I think in some cases it will definitely still make more sense to have a regular structure, pyramid structure with a leader on top and the managers going down. So definitely there's a place for that. I don't know exactly which situations, but if DAOs succeed, I think it can radically change how we look at businesses, because now we look at businesses that have to be started by one person, and that one person is going to make a lot of money by themselves, and they decide mostly what the direction of the company is going to be. And then at some point they hire managers, and those managers have some managers under them, and then we have bureaucracy. I get invited to co-host. Funny. And that's something we consider normal. And I think with DAOs, for the first time, we have the possibility to create a design from scratch that works very efficiently across, let's say, a circle of equal founders. And those founders can collaborate online without any borders, transparently, without a stubborn manager or a stubborn founder. So if they have any ideas, they can just vote for it, and then they can be like, yeah, okay, let's give I don't know, Ivo is working at that side of the company. You can have some budget out of the transparent treasury, and you can work together with some people to get that going. So I think it can be very interesting, and looking forward to where we go next. All right. That's it. So this was the stream. Let's see how many other questions we have, if we have any final questions. No, I don't think so. All right, then the last point is to award the free 1 hour consultation. Let me open up YouTube as well to make sure. There we go. Maybe if you drop something in the comments, if you want the free business consult, then feel free to drop a comment, and if you want to participate. I'll also check here in YouTube. There we go. Maybe if you drop. All right. I see one comment from Anna coming in. All right. Then congrats, Anna. You won the free business consult of 1 hour. Just send me a message in the chat, and then we can set something up. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining the stream, and looking forward to the next one.